Let us try to solve the problem number 4 in the part B of C Sharp and .NET Lab. The exercise number 4 is as follows. We are supposed to design a VB form to accept data from the student. And we are supposed to perform the validations such as all the entries are mandatory, name should contain only characters, age should be above 18. And this is the form that we are supposed to create. In this we have the name, date of birth and gender, address, the state, hobbies and the two buttons. And there are these two buttons are this add and preview, and when you click on this add button, one row has to be stored in the table, and when you click on this preview button, all the records from the table should be displayed in the grid view. So let's go ahead and let's create a Visual Basic application. I have with me the Visual Basic, and before I start this Visual Basic, I also require a database, and I'm going to use the Microsoft Access database. So I'm going to search for the Microsoft Access, and I'm going to start the Microsoft Access database. As it starts, I'm going to go to the Visual Studio, and in the Visual Studio I'm going to click on this file, and I'm going to go to the new project, and under this new project, so this file and new project, I'm going to search for the Visual Basic, and in the Visual Basic I'm going to click on this window, and I'm going to select the Windows Form application. You are supposed to give a proper name to your application, as well as you are supposed to store your project at a proper location by clicking on this browse. I will not do that. Instead, I'm going to go ahead and then open the Visual Studio project directly. So when you start the Windows Form application, you are going to get a blank form here. And in this form, I will just increase the size of this particular form by clicking and dragging at this box over here. You can notice the box, click and drag it, and you can increase the width of it. And let's try to design the form now. The form contains a label. This part is the label, and a text box. So I'm going to go to my project, and I'm going to click on this toolbox over here. So this is the toolbox. You can click on this toolbox. If this toolbox is not visible, go to the view and then search for the toolbox that you get over here, toolbox. Now because I will be using this toolbox for a quite long time, I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to pin this particular toolbox. You can click on here to pin this toolbox. Again, it is not the X, it is the next one. So if you click on here, it's going to hide. So you can click on this toolbox and then pin it. Now I need a label. I can scroll this and then search for the label. Instead of that, you have a search box over here. If you click on this search box and just type LAB, you will get this label. Two options are available. You can click and drag it here, or you can click on it and then make the label, or the easiest one, just double click on it. So you have the label with it. Now when you do this one, if you see the mouse pointer as A here, just press the escape button on your keyboard. So if you press escape, it's going to go back to the pointer. So you have the label. Now I am going to click on this label and slightly get it down over here. So I have the label with me. Next, I want a text box. So I'm going to just type text, and you are going to get the text box. So in the text box, I'm going to double click on this text box, and the text box is going to appear here. So click here and then drag it, and you get the text box there. Now I am supposed to get one more box there. So I'm going to click outside. Look at here. I'm going to click outside and drag. So you can do it from here also. You can do it from anywhere. So don't click on any of the control. Go to the blank area, click and drag down. You draw a rectangle. So click here and then you can draw it, or you can click here and then draw a rectangle. All the ways you can do it. In any case, see to it that you select both the label as well as the text box. When you notice that the label is selected as well as the text box is selected, by clicking and dragging over here, both of them are selected. Now hold down the CTRL, that is the control button on your keyboard, and come to this area, click and drag down. You notice that a label is and as well as the text box is coming down, and in the mouse pointer, if you notice, there is a plus sign inside a box. Plus indicates you are going to make a copy of it. So I'm going to drag here and leave the mouse pointer first, followed by the control button. So I made a copy of it. The next thing that I am supposed to do is I'm going to click on this label alone here, not this. I'm not going to create a rectangle, rather I'm going to just click on the label. So you can click outside and then just click on the label, press down the control button, and then you see the mouse pointer. See, it is going to be a pointer, and when it comes on top of the label, you see it has four-headed arrows. So hold down the control, get the mouse pointer as four-headed arrow in front of the label. So you have selected this label, press down the control, see to it that it is four-headed arrow, click and drag down and leave it. Again, you see that as you drag it, mouse pointer, you will see a plus sign inside a box indicating that you are going to make a copy of it. Leave the mouse button first, followed by the control button on your keyboard. So I have the label created for me. The next thing that I want is a radio button. So I'm going to go to this area over here. You can click on this X sign, not this X sign, the X sign which is there in the search box. To clear the search, if you click on this X size, this toolbox itself will close. It is not this one, it is here. Okay, clear the search. So you clear the search and then search for the radio button. So I'm going to type RAD for radio button. Double click and the radio button will appear here. Click and drag down. So this is one radio button. You got one radio button. Again, click outside. Click on this radio button, press down the control, see to it that the mouse pointer is there on top of the radio button and the radio button is selected. So press down the control button, click and drag to the right side. You will see the two radio buttons being created. So this is much faster. You will be able to create this. Okay. Now I want one more pair of label as well as the toolbox. So I'm going to click here. Any blank area is okay. So see to it that you don't select anything. Just click outside. Everything will get deselected. So click here and drag upwards. So you see a rectangle being generated. And when you have both of the label as well as a text box inside that rectangular dashed dotted rectangle box, leave the mouse pointer. Now you notice that both the label as well as the text box are selected. Now see to it that the mouse pointer is four-headed arrow. Press and hold down the control button on your keyboard. Click and drag it down. So as you drag it down, you notice that both the label and the text box are going to be repeated. You see a plus sign inside the box under the mouse pointer. Leave the mouse pointer and then the control. So you got this one. Now I'm going to make a copy of the label again. I'm going to click on this label, press down the control button and bring the mouse pointer when it is four-headed arrow. If you find that both of them are selected or something else is selected, just click outside this area and then click on the label. So label is selected now. Press down the control button and click and drag down and you have label being repeated. Now I need a combo box again. So I'm going to go to the toolbox and I'm going to clear the search by clicking on this clear search, and I'm going to search for combo. I can just type COMB and you notice that combo box is there. Double click on the combo box and the combo box will appear here. Click in the middle, drag it and leave it at a proper location. So you have the combo box ready over here. The next thing that I want is one more label. So I'm going to click on this label, press and hold down the control button, click and drag it down, and when you get at the proper location, leave the mouse pointer first, followed by the control button on your keyboard. I need a checkbox now, so I'm going to go to the toolbox again. I'm going to say CHE and I get this checkbox. Double click on this checkbox and the checkbox will appear here. Click and drag it at proper location. So I have the first checkbox here. Click outside, again click on the checkbox, press and hold down the control button. Click on the checkbox, indicate that the mouse is four-headed arrow, click and drag to the right side. You have the second checkbox being created. Again press and hold down the control button, get to the checkbox, click and drag to the right hand side, leave the mouse pointer first, that is mouse button first, and then the control button on your keyboard. So you have the label being created. This is followed by the button, so I need a button, so I'm going to click here on the toolbox. You can clear the search by clicking on this mark and then search for button, BUT, and I'm going to type, you get this button. Double click on this button and the button will appear. Click and slightly drag and put it slightly over here, so the first button is created. Click outside, again click on this button, press and hold down the control key on your keyboard, click and drag to the right hand side and leave the mouse pointer first, followed by the control button. So this is what you are supposed to create, and this is what we have it here. Now I'm going to slightly reduce the size of this window by going to this edge. You see this dots over here. There are dots at this point, here, here, and other places. So I'm going to go to this dot here, click and pull it over here, and I get the, when I'm comfortable, I'm going to leave the window position to that place. So I have these many things. Now I'm supposed to label them, and to label them, first one is name, second one is date of birth, gender, address, state, and hobbies. So I'm going to name them one after the other. Now since I don't want the toolbox anymore, I'm going to remove this pin, not this X mark. I'm going to remove this pin from this toolbox, so it will unpin there. Now I need to change the text of the label, so I'm going to click on the first label here, right click on it and go to the properties. So right click, go to the properties. When you click on the properties, you get the property window here. So in this property window, we are in the label 1. Now since I want this properties window to be there for quite some time from now, I'm going to pin this. So to pin this, you just click on this pin. It's going to pin to the window here, and I'm in the label 1. So that's the label 1, and I want to change the text of this particular label. So I'm going to change the text of this label from the label 1. I'm going to call it as NAME for the name. So when I click on outside, this will change to the name. So this has changed to the name. Now I'm going to click on the second label here, and I will go to the properties. Again, if you have closed this properties, right click on this label and go to the properties. So I'm going to change this name of this text box as DOB, that is the date of birth. And if you click outside, you will notice that the second label is changed as DOB. Then I'm going to click on this label again, this label, and I'm going to go to the text property here, and in the text property I'm going to remove this label. Instead of that, I'm going to say gender. So I will type the gender as the text property, and the third label is going to change as the gender. Let me click on the fourth label here. So I'm going to click on this fourth label, and I'm going to go to the properties for the label number 4, and in the property I'm going to change the text property, and I'm going to call this one as address. So I'm going to call this one as address, and you notice that the text has changed. I'm going to click on the next label here. Right click and go to the properties if at all you want to go to the properties. If the property window is already locked, then you don't have to do that thing. So I'll go to the properties of this next label, and I will call this label text as state. St, make it as state. Okay, state. So this property is state. Let me click on the next label here, the last label, and I will go to the properties of that label, and I'm going to call this one as hobbies. So let me make it as hobbies. So that's all you need to do. So this is the hobby. If you want, you can just adjust the width here. Okay, so the size and so on. So you can do that. Let me go to the radio button over here. I will go to the radio button. I'm going to click on this radio button here, and in this radio button I'm going to go to the properties of this first radio button. You can right click and go to the properties. Suppose if you have closed this one, right click and go to the properties. You will reach back to the same properties. Now for the radio button 1, I'm going to change the property. I'm going to delete this radio button 1, and I'm going to call it as mail. The first one is mail. I can just click and get it over here. Okay, mail. Let me click on the second radio button, and I'm going to change the text of it as female. So I will make it as female. So I'm going to make this one as female. So this one will be male, this one is female. Maybe you can adjust a bit there. Next, I'm going to come to the hobbies here. You have a checkbox for this hobbies, and in this hobbies, the first checkbox, let's look at what are the hobbies that the user has. The user has the hobbies like reading, painting, and singing. So let me go, and first hobby, I'm going to make it as reading. That's the first hobby, reading. Okay, then you can adjust the width of it. Then you have the next one as painting. So the next property is painting. So I'm going to click on this second one, second checkbox, and I'm going to change the text of this second text box as painting. So that is the next one, and I'm going to click on the third checkbox, and I will change its property as singing. So these are the three properties that you have. That is the 1, 2, 3. That is the reading, painting, and singing. After this, I have two buttons here, add and preview. I'm going to go there and change their text also. I will click on the first button, and I will go to the text property of this first button, and I will make it as add, add for add. So this will be the first button, will be add. Let me click on the second button, and I'm going to change the text property of this second button as preview. So this is going to be preview. Okay, so this is going to be preview. That being done, now the last thing that we are supposed to do is change the title of the form. And if you notice, the title of the form is a student data entry form. So this is the title of this particular form. Let me go to the property of this form. So if you just click on the form, just click on the form, you are in the form now, properties of the form, and I'm going to change the text. The general text of this form is form 1, so I will make it as student data entry form. I'm going to say student data entry form. So that is done. So this is student data entry form. Let me run this, and just to see whether the things are coming properly. So if you run this particular application, this is what you are going to see. Let me put it here, and so this is what you are supposed to create it. So the name, date of birth, gender, address, state, hobbies, and so on and so forth. So you have done all these things. It is been done. Now we are supposed to go for the second part, and what is that we are supposed to do. So here a lot of things are being said. All the entries which are specified over here, all of them are, they say that they are mandatory. That means you are supposed to select all of them. Suppose if you don't type anything, and if you click on this add button, you must show a error message to the user saying that please enter the name, or please enter the date of birth, and so on and so forth. That means to say that user has to type all the values. Without typing the values, you are not allowed to allow the user to add a new record into the database. So let me go ahead and let me do that part. Let me go to the Visual Studio now, and when the person clicks on the add button, I'm going to show the messages to the user. So I'm going to go to this add button and I'm going to double click on this add button. So I will double click on this add button. When you double click on this add button, you are going to go to the code view. Because I don't want properties anymore, I'm going to unpin this property. So you can go to this properties and just unpin it. Don't close it, just unpin this one. So it's going to go here. Now let's start with the first text box, and what is there in the first text box is the name, and they say that name cannot be blank. So how do we test that thing? So I have double clicked on this add button, and when the button 1 is clicked, I'm going to check for the first text box. So I'm going to say if, so let me say if the first text box, so first text box has some text inside it. So if that text is blank, I'm going to just come to the normal view. Then I'm going to show a message box. I'm going to show a message box, and I'm going to show the message box, and I'm going to say, please enter your name. Please enter proper name. So this is what I'm going to say, and I'm going to put a title, the student data entry. So I'm going to just say this is the title. And if there is a error message, there is no point in going to the next part. So I'm going to come out of this particular method. So how to come out of this method? In C, you have seen this one. You write this return statement. Return will exit out of this method. So once you encounter this return, you are going to come out of this method. So you're going to just exit out of this method. What do I mean by saying that is, if there is if you have not typed the name of the user, there is no point in doing anything after this. So you just come out of it and just show the message to the user and then come out of it. So let me run it here. So when you run this particular application, you notice that suppose if a person has not typed the name, and if he or she tries to click on the add button, there is no point in going ahead. So when you click on this add button, you are going to show a message to the user saying that please enter the proper name. I'm going to just run it one more time. So just let me run it one more time, and I'm going to just keep it slightly here so that you can see it. I have not typed the name here. If you notice, I have not typed it. It is blank here. When I click on add, I'm going to get this message box. So this whole box is because of this message box. So this is a message box, and you see please enter proper name. So that's the text that you're going to see here, and this part is the title of that particular message, that is a message box. So this part is the title, this is the text, and this is whole thing is the message box. So when I click on this OK button, when I click on this OK button, you are going to exit out of this button click event. You are going to come out of that event because there is no point in going ahead with that. Now that's not the end of it. What they said is there is one more condition. Name should contain characters only. What is the meaning of that is suppose if I run this particular application, and because if I don't type anything, if I click add, I'm going to get an error message. So can I type just a number here? So numbers are not named. So if you click on add now, you are not going to get any error message because I am not validating it. If I type a special character here and click on add, you will not get an error message. So according to them, what is allowed is only characters. That is, English alphabets are only allowed. So how do I check for that? So you can type, for example, you can type the name like Suma. So this is allowed. only this is allowed. Suma, Ramesh, Ravi, whatever it is, you can type. So you can type everything in capital, everything in small case, or some things are in capital, some things in small case. You can type any name, but it must be alphabets. So what is the meaning of saying alphabet is anything between capital A to anything between capital A to Z is valid, and anything between small a to z is valid. Only that is valid. Other characters are not valid. How do I validate that? So for this you have to go for regular expression. So how do I go for testing the regular expression? So there are two things that you are supposed to test now. One is this particular text box should not be blank. So you are supposed to type something, you can't leave it blank. If you leave it blank, you get an error message. But if you don't leave it blank, that means to say that if you want to type something, it must be some letters, not the numbers. So it should not be blank, and at the same time it should not contain numbers or some special characters, so that this is not allowed. So how do I check for that? So we are going to do it using the regular expression. So one condition is this: I'm going to put them in a circular bracket so that you know that this is one condition. So the first condition is the text box should not be blank. So that's the first condition. So you cannot leave the text box blank. The next condition is I'm going to put or. So if it is not blank, that does not mean that you can allow any other characters, or you are not supposed to enter. I'm going to say not, okay, the special character. What are special character? This is special character or number or anything. So or not the special character. So what is allowed is no blank text box is allowed. At the same time, no numbers or no special characters are allowed. So this is what you are supposed to say. In other words, you are supposed to say that you are supposed to allow only the English alphabet. How do I do that thing? For this, I'm going to use the regular expression. So I'm going to say reg x. I'm going to type here. So I'm going to say reg. I think I have the caps lock open. So reg x. Now, when you type reg x, Visual Studio is going to tell you that I didn't get what you are typing. Okay. So it's going to show you a red underline saying that something is missing. I don't really get what is the meaning of saying regex. So one good thing about this Visual Studio is if you click somewhere in this red color box, on the other side, if you just keep it here, you will notice that there you are going to get a bulb here. On the right hand side, you are going to get the bulb here. This is called as quick actions. Now the shortcut for it is control and dot. You can notice that they have written control dot. If you want to get the quick actions, press the control and dot. If you don't get it by 100% of the time, whenever there is an error, quick actions will appear on the left hand side of your margin. So I'm going to go on this bulb here. There is a small down arrow here. I'm going to click on this down arrow, and the down arrow, what it says is do you want me to import something? So I want to import system.text.regular expression. So this is there inside this namespace. So you need to import that. Now if you look at your code here, your code has only the class name, public class form1. There is no import statement. Now when I click on this, and if I go to this bulb here, and if I select this import statement, if I just click on this import system.text.regular expression, you notice that Visual Studio will immediately add an import statement here. It's going to add a import statement saying that system.text.regular expression. So you can manually type it or allow the Visual Studio to do it, and my personal advice is allow the Visual Studio to do that thing. So now it has understood what is regex, but the problem is this is not the way in which you have to use the regex. You have to tell the regex that match the pattern. So how do I say that thing? I'm going to put a dot here, and I'm going to say, is there a whatever you are typing, is there a match between I think let me do it. Is there a match between what the user has typed and the pattern that I am giving? So what, in other words, what I want the user to do is I want the user to type only the letters, either in capital letters or in the small case letter. So I want to test whether that is matching with the pattern, with my pattern. How do I give the pattern? Now here, this method requires two things. One is, we go here. One is you are supposed to give the input for this particular method. And where is the input? The input will come from this text box, that is the text box one.text. So I'm going to say the first input for this is that is the input for this is the text box.text. That's the first part. Next part is I will go for the override here. Next part is you are supposed to give a string. So that is a string pattern. So what is the pattern? As I've already told you, that the pattern must start. Suppose if you are typing the name like Suma, then it must start with either a capital letter or a small letter, and it must end with either small case letter or a capital letter. What do we mean by saying that is, in this case it is starting with the capital letter and it is ending with the small case letter. You can also type Suma like this. So that means it is starting with the capital letter and it is also ending with the small case letter. Or you can also type Suma. So in this case it is starting with the small case letter but it is ending with the capital letter. So I have to say between the starting and between this starting and ending point, what is allowed? So between this starting and ending, what is allowed? So that is what I am supposed to say. That is what is the meaning of saying give a pattern. So this is the pattern. Between starting and ending, what is allowed? So how do I say between starting and ending? So I'm going to put a string here, and this one, to say that it is starting, so I'm going to use the caret symbol. So this means it is starting, and in between I'm supposed to give the pattern. And you can also use a dollar. So this you can use it. So caret dollar, this means it you are ending. Other way around is you can use plus dollar. Option is yours, you can use any one of them. So this part is starting, this part is ending. So in other words, suppose if I type Suma here, let's say, so starting, this is the starting, this is the ending. So starting, this part, these two are ending. So plus dollar means ending, dollar means ending, caret means starting. In between, what is allowed? So in between starting and ending, so this is starting point, this is starting, this is ending. So starting and ending, what is allowed? I am supposed to give the pattern. What is allowed? So you know, it is a very obvious thing. What is allowed? Capital A to Z is allowed and small case A to Z is allowed. That's the only thing that is allowed because they are the characters. Okay, so that is what I am writing. So in between, in other words, when you type Suma here, so this is the starting point. So this is the starting point. This is the ending point. In between starting and ending, what is allowed? Either capital A to Z or small case A to Z is allowed. So that is what is the pattern. So let me check this particular pattern, and I'm going to just run this thing here and run that one, and let's see whether I'm able to do this thing. Suppose if I type letter, okay. Oh, by the way, I am supposed to say if give a error message. I'm going just to close this one. The reason is this is allowed, this is allowed, okay. But what is not allowed is in between. So this is allowed pattern. Anything between a capital A to Z and small case A to Z is allowed. But what is not allowed is this. If you type a number, it is not allowed. If you type at symbol, it is not allowed. So special character or numbers are not allowed. So this part is matching. this is the matching string. Suppose if it is not matching, so what is the meaning of it is, I'm going to just run here again just to tell you. Suppose if I write Suma here, okay, Suma, what is Suma? It starts with the, so what it starts with the and it ends with two things you know very well. In between, what is there? Either capital or small case letter, so it is there, so this is allowed. But instead of Suma, if you type 1 2 3 4, so you start, okay, so this is the starting, and this part, other part is the ending. In between, if you notice, this is not the pattern that is matching. This pattern 1 2 3 4 is not matching with the capital letters A to Z or small case A to Z. So this pattern is not matching. So if it is not matching, then only I am supposed to give a message to the user saying that please enter proper name. So I'm going to type or, and I'm going to say not here. What is the meaning? Why did I type not here is if it is not matching this pattern, if it is not matching the capital A to Z or small a to Z, then I am supposed to say please enter proper name. I will just remove this E and make it a small case e. So please enter proper name. So this error message has to be shown only when the pattern is not matching, this. Okay, that means the input is not matching this pattern. So let me run it and let me see whether it is okay. So suppose if I type Suma here, I should not get any error message. The reason is Suma is matching this. Suma is allowed. Okay, so if I click here, it is allowed. Okay, suppose if I type 1 2 3 4, it is not capital A to Z or nor it is small case A to Z. Now I must get an error message saying that enter proper name. So it is not matching. It is not matching. You notice here, this thing is not matching. So this is not matching. That's why I put not there. Suppose if I put at 1 2 3 4, if I click on OK, I must get the message saying that it is not proper. That is not a proper name. So hope you get the idea there. Suppose if I type Ravi here, I must not get any error here because it is allowed. What if I write Ravi Kumar? Is it allowed? If you click on OK, you get a error message. Why you are getting an error message? If you notice it properly, in this Ravi, you notice that there is one space here. In between Ravi and Kumar, there is a space separation. You notice there is a space here in between Ravi and Kumar. Now space is not declared here. What is said here is only English alphabet is allowed. No space is allowed. Now I have to allow the spaces because generally when you type, there is not one name may not be there. You may have middle name or you may have the last name and so on and so forth. So how do I allow the spaces to be part of this valid pattern? So my current pattern is either A to Z or small case A to Z, capital A to Z or small case A to Z. That is only allowed. But now I want these spaces. For this I have to use the escape sequence. Now you are familiar with the /n in your visual base, in your C programming. You are familiar with this, or /t. You are familiar with this idea. So similarly, you have an escape sequence called as /s. I did not have to tell you what is this s. S means that space. Okay, /s means space. How do I get add that pattern? So I'm going to just close this one. How to add this pattern? So I'm going to say what are allowed in my pattern is either capital A to Z or small case A to Z and the space. So this one is called space. I am also allowing the space. So this is slash. You have to put /s, not just s. If you just put s, s is part of this A to Z. You know very well. S is also a small case letter. It's an alphabet. But I am not saying just s. I am saying that escape s. That means to say that space is also included there. So let me give it a try and let's run it and just see whether I get the required pattern. So now if I say Ravi Kumar, Okay, and if I click on add, I will not get any error message because space is allowed here. So if I say Suma, let's say Suma, and yes, if I click yes, it's okay. But if I say Suma at, then if I click OK, I will get please enter proper name. So I get the error message. So that means to say that only name is allowed. So this part is done. Let's look at the second one. So what I have next is, after this name, the next one is date of birth. Again, the date of birth, what is the scenario over here is, in the date of birth, we are supposed to, we are not allowed to use the blank here. So if you don't type anything, you have to give the message. Let's do that thing. So I'm going to copy this. I will not type this whole thing again. I will select this thing. So click here, drag up, select this, Control C to copy it, Control V to paste it. So you get it. And I don't want to go for regular expression matching, so I will remove the OR part here. That's not really required. And what is this? This is a text box 2. So I'm going to go and say that this is the text box number 2. If the text box number 2 is blank, so this is the only thing you can, if you want, you can remove this thing also. If the text box 2 is blank, okay, you say please enter date of birth. So date of birth, I'm going to say, okay, please enter date of birth. So let me run it, and let me run it. Okay, and see, I will type something here because otherwise I'm going to get an error message. Now I kept the date of birth blank. If I click OK, I will get please enter date of birth. So that is done. Now there is one other thing that you are supposed to do for this date of birth, and that is the age. What they have said is should be 18 or above. So how do I calculate the age of a person? Now you know that today the date is 22. So it is today is 22. How do I find my age? So you know very well, from today's date. So it is very simple. From today's date, 22 10 2023, subtract your date of birth. Maybe if you are born on say 23rd, let's say say 12th 05 2004. If you are born in this one, you subtract this. Now I am not interested in this one, so this age, I am going to just subtract this from here. So age, I will subtract this age. Now you can directly subtract one age from the other age, so you can get this one, but I am going to go for a very simple calculation, and that is I will subtract, instead of say, the simplest way is, instead of bothering about the day and month, instead of bothering about these two, okay, you just subtract the year from this and the other. If the year difference is 18 or above, allow it, otherwise don't allow it. So I'm going to just subtract the year from this year 2023. I'm going to subtract the year of birth, and if the difference is 18 years, I will just allow it, otherwise I won't allow the user to enter. So that is what I'm going to do it. I will go for a simplest version. I'm going to go over here and check for that one. So let me select this whole thing, Control C, and I am supposed to check for the year. So before I do that, let me go for the difference between the two year. I will take it as an integer. I will say dim. Let's say def. I will say def as integer. Okay, integer. So integer. Okay, and I'm going to subtract 1 year from this other year. So I'm going to say I'll take today, and from today means it is the current day, and I'm going to say today. From this today, I will take the year. So what is this today year? If you get what is the today year means, today is this date, and the year of this date, whatever is that is 2023 minus whatever the user has typed in this text box, whatever user has typed, this will be, remember this is a text box, so remember that this is a text box. So you have to convert this text into date first and then get the year. So how do I convert that? So from this text box, whatever user has typed in this text box, convert it as a date and again then get the year. So how do I do that thing? So I will go to this date and I will say parse. So whatever that is typed in the text box 2, so whatever the user has typed in the text box 2, so parse it as a text. So remember, whatever that the user has typed in this text box, whatever you type here. So if you type say 25 06 2001, if you type like this, this is a text. This is just a text because it's a text box. It is a text. You have to convert this text into date first. So that is what I am doing. So I convert that whatever that the user has typed in the text box, I convert it as a date. So how do I do that? Date.parse will convert it into date. From that date, I will get the year. So this is what I am doing. So I convert whatever the user has typed, that date I will convert it into date and then I'm going to get the year. So I got the year now. Now this difference, this today's year and your year of birth, that difference, if that is less than 18, then I'm going to give a error message. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to say this diff. What is this diff? Diff is the difference between today's year and your date of birth year. If that difference is less than 18, I am supposed to show a error message to the user. And what is the error message? I'm going to just say age must be greater than 18. So I'm going to just say age must be greater than 18. So I'm going to just show that message. So let me try it now. Let's see whether I'm going to get that one. So initially I'm going to type something here because that is required. Now I'm going to type this year. So let's say say 21/06/2001. This is the year. Now if I click, I should not get any error message, but if the person has typed 2015, you notice that 2015, this age difference is not 18 years. So I must get an error saying that age must be greater than 18. So you get it. Okay. So if I go for 2008, what is going to happen? If I say 2008, I get it is not 18. What about 2004? If I go to 2004 and click OK, I'm not going to get anything because you know very well the difference is definitely greater than 18 years. So if it is greater than 18 years, no problem. If it is less than 18 years, you give the error message. Now let's come to the next part. Next part is if you notice that neither the male nor female is selected. But one thing you must notice that when you have the radio button, either you can select male or you can select female. So you cannot select both of them. Okay, that is one part. And the next one is if you select one, it is either male or female. So that is the next part. So remember that if none of them are selected, then you give the message. So when you run it for the first time, let me run it. When you run it for the first time, none of them are selected. If the user does not click on male or female, any one of them, if he has not clicked on that, then you show the error message. So how do I do that thing? So let me go here and make a copy of it. I'll just press enter and make space. I will select this as usual. I'm going to select this one. So select this, Control C, and just paste it down, Control V, and I will go to the radio button one. So if let me see what is the property. First thing, what is the property? I'm going to just remove this one for just explanation purpose. I'm going to remove it. So when you run this particular thing, when you click on this male or female, the radio button has a property called as checked. When you click on it, suppose if I click on this the mail now, then the checkbox one, this is checkbox one. Checkbox one is checked. The property is checked. So you have one property called as checked. Okay, this checked is true. What about the female? Female checked is false. It is not true because the female is not clicked. Suppose if I click on female now, then male is not checked is false because male I have not checked in. Female it is checked is true. So I'm going to search for the checked properties. When you run it for the first time, you notice that both male and female are not checked. If this is a scenario wherein the user has not clicked on the male nor female, then you have to give an error message. So that is what I'm going to do it. So let me copy it and just paste it. Yeah, and now I'm going to check for this one. So the radio button, where is the radio button? Radio button 1 dot checked. Okay, or radio button 2 dot checked. Both of them, if one of them is true, then there is no problem. But the problem is, what if both of them, if any one of them, either the radio button 1 or the radio button 2 is not checked? So I'm putting it here. See, if radio button 1 or radio button 2 is not checked, is not checked. So radio button 1 is not checked or radio button 2 is not checked. Okay, in that case, so that is how I am writing it. So not radio button 1 checked or radio button 2 checked. What is the meaning of it is either any one of them is checked, then it's okay. If both of them are not checked, then I am supposed to give a message to the user. What is the message that I am supposed to give? I am going to say that please enter or please select or please what is a good word? Please specify your gender. Okay, so this is the message. So let me run it and just show you what it is going to do. So yeah, I'm going to type something over here, and I'm going to type a proper date here, because if I don't type the proper date, so let's say 12/05/2001, and now if I just click OK, I will get the message saying that please specify your gender. So if I select either male, I will not get an error message. If I select female, I will not get the error message. So if I select, I will not get it. If I don't select both of them, I must get the error message. So let's go to the next one. What is the next one? Next one is our address. So next text box, this is the text box. I'm going to check for the address. So let me just select this one. Control C to copy, and let me paste it, Control V. And let's go to the next one, and I'm going to just remove this one. What is the next? Is the text box number 3 dot text. If it is blank, then I'm going to say please enter please specify your address, or please address, or please enter, let me say please enter your address, address. Okay, so that's the spelling, I suppose. Let me run it, and this is straightforward. If you don't specify the address, you're supposed to get it. So this is okay with me. Any name is okay. This one, let's say 06/2001, and I selected the male, one gender. If I click OK, I will get the error message saying that please enter your address, because I have not typed the address. If I type any address and click OK, nothing is going to happen because address is specified. So this part is over. Next one, what you notice here is it's a combo box, and we have not specified any state here. So we are supposed to give the state name here. How do I specify the state name? So first let me close this one, and let me go back to the form design over here. So I have this form design. Let me click on this form design, and if you see over here, you have this combo box here. If you click on this combo box, you get the quick access menu over here. So this arrow, can you see this arrow here? This is the quick access menu. So if you click on this, you get the quick access control. If you click on it again, it's going to vanish. So click here, it's going to come. Click on this button, you notice that the arrow changes. You click on here, it vanishes. So let me click on this one, and I'm going to say edit item, because I'm going to add a few state names there. So I'm going to click on the edit items. So I'm going to click on the edit item. You are going to be shown a dialog box like this. Okay, enter the state name. I'm going to type the Karnataka here, Karnataka. First one, let's say Kerala. Next one, let's say Tamil Nadu. Next one, okay, and so on and so forth. You can type many things, but for your examination 3 is enough, more than enough for during the examination. So I'm going to just keep it simple for 3. If your external examiner says that no, I want still more, you will start typing the name. Otherwise 3 is enough. So let me click OK. What is the difference? The difference is, if you run it now, you will notice that you get an option for selecting the state here, Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu. So you can select anything. Suppose if you don't select anything, then you are supposed to be, we are supposed to give the error message. So let's do that part. I'm going to go to the form here. So let me click on this form here. Again, for those, if you by mistake close this form by clicking X mark, go to the Solution Explorer here. Go to the Solution Explorer, double click on the form. If you click on the down arrow, you can double click on the form to get the code view. So it is one and the same. Let me go to the code view, and I'm going to copy paste this one. I'm going to select this, Control C, and just press enter and paste it. So this is not the text box, it is the combo box. So I'm going to say combo box, COMBO, combo box 1.text. So if the combo box 1.text is blank, then say that please select your state. So I'm going to give that message, please select your state. Let me run it. So let me run this particular part now. Assume that you have typed the proper name. Assume that you are typing the proper address, and 2001. You have selected the gender, you have typed the address, but you have not selected any state. If you click OK, you must get to please select your state. If you select any state from here and then click add, nothing should happen because there is no error now. Let's go to the next one, and the next one is remember, you can select only reading you can select it, or you can select painting you can select it, or singing you can select it. But if you don't select anything, that means this condition is true. What is this? They said all of them are mandatory. All the things are mandatory. That means to say that the user is supposed to select one among them. It is mandatory. You can select all of them, or you can select two of them, or you can select one of them. But mandatory means they are supposed to select one. So in generally, this is not the case. When you have the check boxes, we are not the user is not supposed to select anything. Okay, in other words, so the user can be allowed to submit the form without the selecting anything. That is also allowed, but they have given the condition, so we have no choice. So let's check for that one also. So I'm going to go to the next part here. I'm going to press enter to make some room here. Selected Control C, and let me click on Control V here. And what is that we are supposed to check? So if none of them are checked, so how do we say that? If not, I'm going to say if not, what is it? Checkbox 1, we have this checkbox 1 dot checked. If the checkbox 1 is not checked, remember checked means it is there, not checked means it is not checked, or let me say, or checkbox 2 is not checked, is not checked, or checkbox 3 is not checked. Okay, so if checkbox 1 is not checked, or checkbox 2 is not checked, or checkbox 3 is not checked, so if one of them is checked, well and good. If two of them are checked, well and good. If none of them are checked, if not means what is the meaning of saying not? If none of them are checked, If no checkboxes are checked, then you say that please select at least one hobby. Let's say please select at least one hobby. Okay, so I'm going to say that. So please select one hobby. So let me try that thing now. So you have everything here now. So you have the name here, you have the date of birth, let's say 12/07/2001, and you selected the mail, you typed some address, you selected the state, and you have not selected any one of them. If I click on them, if none of them are selected, then you say please select any one hobby. If you select one of them, you won't get it. If you get two of them, there is no problem. If you select three of them also, there is no problem. But if you don't select any of them, then you must get the error. Suppose if I remove all of them and try to do it, I must get the error saying that select one hobby. So that is what is the condition. So that is done. Now the next question is, suppose if you have passed all these things, then when you click on add, we are supposed to add this data into the database. So how do I add this to the database? For that, I am supposed to create a database. For this exercise, I'm going to use Microsoft Access database rather than the generally the VB, that is the SQL Server database. Now there is some issues. What I observed is sometime you are not able to connect to the database, or sometimes it is not possible to update the database. There is a lot of problem that is associated with them. Now there are for that problem there are a lot of solutions are also there. But the problem is if you try to invite the problem during the examination and then search for the solution, 3 hours maybe you may run out of 3 hours, and then you may lose the marks. So during the examination, you are supposed to do what really works without any trouble. If it works and if you are able to complete it, then you are saved. If you invite trouble, or for some reason if it is not working, then your BP will raise and then your mind will stop thinking, and you will have a lot of issues there. So I'm going to give you a solution that really works. Okay, so this access solution always works without any problem. Access will always work, and access is there in your system because in first year you have done the database using Microsoft Access. So let's go to the Microsoft Access. You have the Microsoft Access with you. So you can click on the home and then say blank database. You can click on this one. Okay. Or you can also say the other way around is you can click on the new and database. Okay. Suppose if you are using the older version of the Microsoft Access database, then search for the file and new, you'll get it. So in any case, you are supposed to create a blank database. That is what you are supposed to do it. Now if you are using 2007 version of Microsoft Office, which is there in some of the colleges, then this appearance may not be the same. You may get all these options. The blank database option, you may get it on the right hand side. You will see the same picture on the right hand side, and you will see the option for a blank database on the right hand side. Some things will be there in this location, some things will be there. Ignore them and just click on the blank database. When you click on this blank database, again you may not get it like this. Instead of that, you may get this picture, you may get at the top, and this file name and other things you may get it below this. Okay, so you may get below this, but you will see something of the same type. Now the first thing is I'm going to give a name to the database. So I'm going to call it as a student. There is no need for you to give the extension. Just type student. Don't worry about ACCDB or anything. Just type the name student. One thing you must understand is by default Microsoft Access will create a database in My Documents. So should you worry about that? The answer is absolutely don't worry about the location. Let it create the database in My Document. It is not a crime to store the database in My Documents. So let it create it in My Documents. Okay. Now the question is, what if your friend creates the database and your friend also stores the database in My Document? definitely one student database can be there. You can't have two databases. So when your friend creates the database, your database will be deleted. So simple as that. Okay. So should you worry about it? The answer is absolutely not. Don't worry. Okay. Delete it. If you delete it, you recreate the database. In any case, even a friend creates the database, they are going to create the same field. They are not going to create different fields altogether. So let's go ahead and let's click on the create. Remember, it's going to create it in my documents. Okay, so let's go here and then click create. And if you notice now, for to make you understand the problem, I have already created a database called as student. Now, if your friend has already created a student, a database called as student, and if it is already there in my document, you're going to say that the Microsoft Access is going to say that this database is already there in my documents. Do you want to replace it? You are going to say yes, that's it. Okay, replace it. There is no harm in doing it. Don't worry about it. So just click yes, and you are going to create it in my document. It is not crime to create a database in my document. So this is the view that you are going to get. And you know very well, by default, whenever you create a database in Microsoft Access, it's going to create a table, a blank table with the name table 1. So this is what you are going to see. The first thing you are going to do is either click on this thing, either click here, that is the save icon. Can you see that save icon? Either click here or press Ctrl S, Ctrl plus S. This is the shortcut for saving. So I'm going to press Ctrl plus S. So Control yes, I'm going to say. It's going to say what is the name that you want to give to your database. So what is the name that you want to, not the database, to the table. So I'm going to say std table. I'm going to say std table. That's the name that I'm going to give it to my database. So std table is the name that I'm giving it to my database. So I'm going to go here and just say save. And what you notice is your table name. If you notice here, your table name is automatically changed as std table, and this name is also changed as std table. Now we need to add a few fields to this. So how do I add fields to this? You click on this thing over here, that is design view. Just click on this icon here, design view. It's going to go to the design view. What is the first field? So first field, I remember, don't take the first field is name, but name is a reserved word in Microsoft Access. Suppose if you type the field name as name itself, and if you click outside, Microsoft is going to say that this is a reserved word. You cannot use this reserved word. Okay, so I'm just going to click OK, and I'm going to take it as a yes name. I will change it as yes name, because the name is a reserved word. I'm going to say it is yes name. The data type of it is short text. If you are using 2007 version, select it as text itself, because short text may not be there. So just select it as text. Now one other problem with this is by default it will take the first field as primary key. If you notice here, you notice this particular thing, we notice here, this it has taken it as a key. Can you notice that? I don't know whether you'll be able to notice that. You see that it is a key here. Key indicates that it is a primary key. Okay, now I don't want anything as a primary key because they have not specified anything regarding the primary key. So how do I remove that primary key? So to remove this primary key, get your mouse pointer here. Look at the mouse pointer. Now this is I being my mouse pointer. This one is dark right side thing. Okay, set the field as a primary key. Okay, so just click on this. Okay, right click here. So click here, and so you have clicked here, remember. Okay, you can click here to remove it, click here to add it. This is one way. So you just click here, remove it, it's go, click again, it's going to come. This is one way. Other way is right click here and then remove it. Okay, one and the same. You notice both of them will work. right click, add it. So you can make something as a primary key, or you can remove the primary key. Okay, I don't want the primary key, so see to it that there is no key. This key is not here, so if it is there, remove it. If it is there, remove it. So don't make it anything as primary key. Next one is the date of birth. I'm going to call it as a DOB, date of birth. Please do not put the spaces. Very important thing. Some of you are doing that mistake. When you type the field name, do not put the spaces. Even though space is allowed, but when you run the query, it is going to be a difficult challenge for you to handle that field that has spaces or special characters. So let's go ahead and let's get the data type. The data type of it is I'm going to take it as a date time. So because it's the date of birth, so it is date or time. Okay. Let's go to the next one. So next one is the gender. I'm going to say GENDER, and the data type is short text or text. If you get it as text, well and good. Short text is also allowed. So next one is the address. So I'm going to say address, and that's also short text. Next one is the state. Again, that is also short text. Next one is, I think, hobbies. I will take it as a short text. So that's it. Okay, only the gender is a date. I'm taking gender as date. Again, you can take it as a date, the short text also. There's nothing wrong in doing that. Okay, so there's nothing wrong. But I will take it as date of birth. This is for this. For brevity, I will going to take that thing. So again, press Control S. Either you can press Control S, or you can click on this here, or you can click on this what is that icon there to make it save. I'm going to just press Control S. That's it. So done. Now let's look at the view here. So if you click on the grid view, you will notice that there are no fields in your table because you have not added any records. So record is blank. Again, if you click on this design view, you will come to the design. Click on the grid view. You are going to see there is no data, or there is no field that is or no records are added to your database. So that's simple as that. So we will add it through our program. So that is what we are supposed to do it. Let's now we have the database, and you know very well your database is there in my document. So you know that thing. Let's go ahead to our Visual Studio Code, and we are supposed to connect to our database. So that is the first part. We are supposed to connect to our database. Once you connect to the database, and we will be able to do many things. So let's go and let's make the connection. How do I do that? I'm going to go to the Solution Explorer. Again, for those people who are not getting Solution Explorer, go to View and search for the Solution Explorer. Okay, you can get the Solution Explorer if you didn't get it. Now I'm going to add one settings to my project. So you have this My Project here in your Visual Studio project. You have this My Project. Double click on this My Project. So double click on My Project. You're going to see the familiar thing over here. We are not interested in changing all the things over here. We are not interested in all these things. We are interested in changing the settings. So we will go and click on this settings here, and we are going to add one settings. So we will add one settings. I'm going to click here, and I'm going to say this is my connection string, constr, no spaces, constr. This is a variable that I'm going to create it, and the type of it is not just a string. The type of it is, you can scroll down, and the type of it is a connection string. So this type is the connection string. So its type is connection string. I will just drag it here, just show you that it is connection string. So that's a connection string. Next one is what is the value. So next part is what is the value. How do you get this value? So at the right hand side, if you notice over here at this right hand side, you see a ellipsis, a box with the 3 ellipses there. So let's click on that ellipsis box, and you have you are given a dialog box, fresh dialog box, and in this dialog box, if you notice, so what did I do? I just clicked on this ellipsis here, and I get this dialog box. And in this dialog box, by default, it thinks that you are going to connect to the SQL Server database, but I don't have SQL Server database. And you may say that why don't you connect to the SQL Server database file? The question is, if you try to do it, sometime it so happens that it will not update the database. So that is the problem. Okay, sometime it will not do it. But you may say that then is it a problem with the Visual Basic? It is not the problem with the Visual Basic. There is a workaround that you can use it to prevent all the this particular problem, that not getting updated. There is a workaround, and it is a very simple thing. But during the examination, as I've already told you, is your heart will pump at a higher rate and your brain will not think so much. So today you are relaxed and you are able to think, but during the examination you are tensed. And when you are tensed, if the things are not going properly, you will, instead of doing good things, you will do bad things. That means to say that instead of writing the code properly, you will write something wrong. It is not deliberately done, because even if I am tensed, I am going to do the same thing. So during the examination, don't take the risk. Okay, this is just for the examination. Once you complete your BCA or once you get into a company, you can do a lot of things because you are relaxed to do the things. There you have you can search for the solution, you can do much better things. But now you have to complete your BCA. That is the reason you are doing it. Okay, so that's simple as that. So during the examination, don't take the risk. So get the full marks without taking higher risk. So that is simple as that. Okay, hope you get that thing. Now I'm going to go here and I'm going to click on this change now. So change, and I'm going to select Microsoft Access Database. So Microsoft Access Database file, click OK, and you notice that it's going to say you will have to go for OLEDB database. So you will notice that the provider is OLEDB. If you click on SQL Server, the provider is SQL. Okay. If you click on the Oracle database, the provider will be Oracle. Okay, we will have that thing. So I am not going to go with the Oracle. Let me go with the Microsoft Access database. This is the database I am interested in, Microsoft Access database, and you must remember that this is OLEDB. Okay, so let's click OK, and you notice that now it is the Microsoft database access file, and it is OLEDB. You remember that it will start with OLEDB. I'm going to tell you why I'm talking about that OLEDB. When I write the code, I will tell you why I'm stressing on that particular point. Okay, so now it's going to ask me where is the database file, and you know very well that file is in my document. So just click on this browse and go to my documents, and in my documents you will have to search for student. I have a lot of database here. I have the student ACCDB. You see that this is my database, student ACCDB, and I'm in my documents. Okay, I may have a lot of things there. That's a different story, but in my documents, so under PC, my documents. So you see this my document under PC. Scroll up and down to see the whole thing. So you can scroll here. Let me show it here. You can scroll up and down here and go to my documents, and in my documents, okay, you are going to see student.db. that is it. Click open, and it is a you will get one error message. Good that that error message came, and what it is just say is enter the new name or close the file that is open in the other program. So what it is just saying is that see, this particular file that you are trying to access, it is already open in Microsoft Access. So it is already open in Microsoft Access. So I cannot get the lock on that database. So what is the meaning of it is when it is trying to write something, it doesn't want somebody others to make changes to that particular database. So what is the best thing you can do is just click X mark on your Microsoft Access. Close the Microsoft Access by clicking on the X button here. So you have the Microsoft Access, that is a student database. You just close the Microsoft Access database. Okay, close it. Click OK, and immediately don't do it, just wait so that the lock is released, and then click open, and you have the database there. So you notice that your database is now in my document, whatever it is, my document. This is your database. Okay, just test the connection to see whether the things are okay, and you notice that the connection is succeeded. That means you are able to connect to the database. Well and good. Let's click OK, and we are done with it. Okay, so we are able to connect to the Microsoft Access database. Let's go back to our Visual Basic code here. So I'm going to click on this form.bb, and we are supposed to continue with our coding. So what is the first thing that we require? We require a connection. So how do you say that? Okay, dim connection as we require a new connection to the database. New. Now usually if you are having a SQL server, then you start with SQL. If it is a Oracle, you start with the Oracle. Okay, Oracle. Okay, if it is Microsoft Access, then I have already told you it is OLEDB. So that is why I'm from that time I was stressing on this OLEDB, OLEDB, OLEDB. This is because this particular database that you are going to use is this OLEDB. I want a connection to the OLEDB database. So I am going to say I need a OLEDB connection. Okay, well and good. The problem with this OLEDB connection is Visual Studio just says that I didn't get it. So you notice that it is giving a squiggly line saying that I didn't get what is OLEDB. It is not defined. Tell me what is this OLEDB. So click here and search for the quick access menu. If you don't get it, control and dot, you get the quick access menu over here, this way or this way. The both are same. Either you click here and press control and dot. Let me type it here. So CTRL plus this dot on your keyboard. So don't press the plus there. So control and dot, you get this option. And the Visual Basic the Visual Studio is a very fantastic tool. It just says, okay, so do you want me to add that thing? Okay, I'm going to say add it. Either you can click here, or you can go to this bulb, click on this and do it here. Both are one and the same. Now if you look at the import statement, there is only one import statement for regular expression. Now if I go here and if I tell the Visual Studio, okay Visual Studio, go and add this import statement. What is this import statement? Import statement is system.data.oledb. This namespace should be there. So if I tell the Visual Studio is kind enough to add this import statement to me. I don't have to type that. And if there is a typo, and I will have other problems. So allow the Visual Studio to do the most of the task. You have the new connection, and it is not enough. You are calling a constructor on this. So let's call the constructor, and what you require for this new connection is for this new connection, it just says first is the default constructor. Second one is you need a connection string. Where is the connection string? We have already created a connection string. Where is it? It is in my project, and inside my project it is there inside the setting, and inside setting it is called as connection string. So that is what I'm going to say. So it is there in my project, that is my project setting, and then I'm going to put a dot, and I'm going to say go to the settings, and then I'm going to put a dot, and inside setting I have created connection string. So this is what I've done. So here you notice it is my project, and then if you double click my project, and then you went to the setting, and then you have connection string CONSTR. That is what is the connection. So you got the connection done. Then what is the next thing that you require? You require a command. So that is what we require. So let's write the command. So I will write dim. Okay, so cmd as new, okay, OLEDB command. So that is simple as that. So this is OLEDB, command. So that's simple as that. Now the problem with this command is, I'm going to just type that. The command says, okay, give me the text, give me the query. In other words, give me the query. Where is the query? You are just saying that dbm command and so on and so forth. Where is the query? Let me create this query. Dim, let me say query as string. Okay, and okay, as string. Let me type the query here. So what is the query? How do you insert into this table? Now you notice that now I'm going to just open that table. Remember, don't when you have this where is that table gone? Student. Where is our student? Okay, this table. I'm going to just open it. Please don't open it because when you try to run it, you'll get an error message, because when you open it in the Microsoft Access, what I'm going to enable the content first. What is going to happen is it is going to lock that file so that it won't allow others to use that file. Okay, so don't open it, because I'm just giving an explanation. I'm saying that my table is std table. That's the name of the table, std table. So I have to, that's why I opened that thing, just for that thing. Okay, so I'm going to say here insert, let me minimize it. Okay, insert into, okay, let me say into, okay, std table. Remember the name of it, that's table name should be proper, std table without space, std table. So that is it. Values, what are the values that you are going to insert? Okay, what are the values? So remember, put the values in the same order. First is name, next is date of birth, next is gender, next is address, next is state, next is hobbies. So I'm going to put one after the other. First one is, I'm going to say at name. This is the parameter, at name. That's the first one. Okay, next one is what is it? At date of birth. This is the second parameter. Put a comma. At gender, I will just say GEN, that is enough. And at address, ADD, at address, what else you require? Let's say address, and what else you require? At state, okay, that's done. At hobby, HOB, done. Close the bracket. So these are the parameters that you are going to pass. Name, date of birth, gender, and what else? What else was there? Okay, I hope everything is there. Name, date of birth, gender, address, state, hobbies. I think everything is there. Okay, so that is it. So this is my query. You've typed it. Okay, this is the query, and this is the command. Okay, let's come back to the command. Now the command says, let's look at that. The command says, okay, what are the overrides you get it for this command? First one, it says, okay, give me the query. So I'm saying the query is up there with me. So I've just typed the query. This is the query. And next thing it is going to say, give me the connection. Connection is already there with me. So this is the connection to my database. I've already done the connection to the database. That's a connection. So that connection is there, and this query is also there. So everything is there. Now only problem with this query is this query requires the values for the parameters, name, date of birth, gender, and address, and so on and so forth. Now for the name, there is no problem, because name is a text box. You type the name, you can pass it. Date of birth, again you type it, you can pass it. But the gender, male and female, you don't type it, you are actually selecting it. So if you select the male, I'm going to just run this one particular thing just to tell you. Now you are going to type among these things. Look at the problem here. Okay, you are going to type some name. Let's assume that you are going to type some date. Assume that I typed the date, but here you are not typing anything. You are selecting it. Yes or not? Either you select the male or you select the female. Suppose if you select the male, then female is definitely you can't select it. Suppose if you select female, then male is should be left blank. In other words, if the male is selected, well and good. If male is not selected, that means without knowing, if male is not selected, because there are only two options are there. If male is not selected, then that means it must be female. So simple as that. So I need that information, because you are selecting it, you don't get the text. I want this text to be there. So how do I get this text? So I'm going to just write a small thing over here. Let me go over here. So before this query, I'm going to do it. So just before the query, I'm going to do it. So just here, before writing all this query and other things, I'm going to do it so that it is easier for you to figure out. So this is for dim, and what is it? Gender. Okay, I'm going to say gender. Okay, GEN, gender. Okay, gender as a string. And what is the value? So I'm going to say IIF, that is if, okay, checkbox 1 dot checked. Okay, if the checkbox 1 is checked. What is the meaning of saying if the checkbox 1 is checked? If the male checkbox, if this checkbox is checked, if this is checked, then it is male. So simple as that. So if, see the way I have written, if checkbox 1 is checked, okay, then what is the answer? Answer is male. Suppose if it is not checked, then what is the answer? Answer is female. So hope you get the thing. So remember, if the checkbox 1 is checked, then it is male. You know it. Suppose if a checkbox 1 is not checked, what is the meaning? Then the female must have been selected. So that is simple as that. So within one shot, you get the male and female. That part is over. Is there any other problem? Yes, there is one other problem. What is one other problem? Let me run it and just show you. So after this, there is the checkbox problem. This is problem is solved. Address, you are going to type some address. State, you are going to select some state. But what about reading? You are going to select. Again, the same problem is there, reading. But there is a problem with the reading. You see, if you, when you have this male and female, if one is selected, the other one becomes unselected. If this is selected, the other one will go. But here it is not the case. If you select one, others will not go. If you select this, this is individual. It works on its own. So they are not connected. Whereas these two are connected. If you click one, other will go. If you click one, the other will go. Whereas here, if you click this, others, nothing is going to happen. If you remove this also, others, nothing is going to happen. So that means they are independent. So here, the same trick cannot be used. In that case, what to do? In that case, we have to rely on other techniques. So let's see what we can do. So let's start with the code here. So again, I'm going to declare dim, and I'm going to say hob as string. Okay, and I'm going to initialize it with the blank. Okay, so null string. So that's just the initializing it. Now I'm going to start with the first one. If the first checkbox, that is the checkbox 1 dot that is checkbox 1 is checked, then I'm going to say what is my hobbies. My hobby is reading. Okay, so that is what they have given. So I am not typing something on my own. So if this if you look at here, if this first checkbox is checked, the hobby is reading. So that's simple as that. Okay, then the next one is, suppose if let me do it directly. So if okay, second checkbox is checked. So that means if the second checkbox is checked, then the hobby is painting. Okay, painting. Okay, painting. Okay, is it correct? Okay, hopefully that spelling is proper. Okay, let's go for the next one. The third one, if it is checked, then it is, I think, singing. Singing. Okay, I hope the spelling is sing is should be there now. Where is this? Okay, singing. Okay, this is correct. But the problem is if it is just reading is okay. Let me show the problem with this. If one is selected, very good. If reading is only selected, well and good. If painting is selected, well and good. Singing is selected, well and good. But the problem is with the reading, if painting is selected, that means to say that it is a reading plus painting. With the reading and with the painting, with singing is also selected, that means it is reading, painting, and this. So this plus this plus this. So there must be some plus here. So let's fix that problem. So with the, let's go to the code here. With the reading, if you are also going for a printing, then reading plus painting. Again, with the painting, if you are going for singing, then painting plus singing. Now I'm going to put some space here. You notice that I put extra space here. I'm going to put extra space here. The reason is, if I don't put the space here, what will happen is, when you use this plus here, it's going to come as a reading without space. It's going to get as painting. So I don't want this kind of things to happen. So I want reading. So after reading, you notice that there is a space here. So there will be some space here. Then that painting will come. Okay, so I need that painting. So after painting, there will be some space here. Then that singing will come. So that is to add this space in between. So I have made provision. After singing, nothing is going to come. So there is no need to put the space there. So I have not put this space after singing. So this is what I have done. So now everything is there. We can take the input from all of them, because we have done with the thing. Let's add the parameters. So let's go to the CMD. And for the CMD, we have to add the parameters. And I'm going to say add with the values. Let's go with the first parameter. Remember, very, very important thing. This you select it, Control C it, and Control V it. Now when you do it, do not put the space here. Very, very important thing. Most of you will make this mistake. Do not put the spaces between this one, either before or afterwards. It must be exactly this, at name, exactly at name, and the spelling must match. Otherwise you get unexpected errors. So don't do that particular thing. So this must be, this parameter name must exactly match here. If you put the parameter and space, it's going to search for this parameter with that space, and it will not match here because there is no space, and you will get a error message. Okay, so where is the name? Name is there in this first text box. So I'm going to say this name is there in the text box 1. Text box 1 dot text. Name is there in this text box. That part is over. Now I'm not going to type it again and again. I'm going to just copy this. Control C to copy it. So, and I'm going to paste it a few times so that I don't have to struggle a bit. So I'm going to paste a few times, because I'm going to make one change at a time. Otherwise I have to again copy it, paste it, and so on. So I just copy it once and then paste it many times. The second one is date of birth. Excuse me. And I'm going to just put the date of birth here, and it is there in the text box 2. Again, see to it that you by mistake also you don't put this space here. So that's very, very important. The next one is the gender. So GEN. Now very, very important thing, gender is not there in the text box. You don't get a text box for gender. And we have already calculated the gender. Where did we calculate the gender? So we have calculated, let me put a space here. We have calculated the gender here, the male or female. So gender, this gender. Okay, I'm going to use that gender. So gender is not from the text box. Gender is from the variable gender, GE gender. So this is the variable. This variable, can you see this variable? So that is the variable. So let me remove it and this show it. So this is the variable that I am talking about. So this variable, just now what a variable but we have created. So either male or female, this gender is the one that I am using it, not from the radio buttons. It is not from this radio button. So let's go to the next one. After gender we have this address, and for the address, fortunately, again no spaces before and afterwards. So this is just ADD. And where is the address? Address is there in this text box. This is a text box there. So this one is the text box number 3. That is done. The next one, let me slightly scroll it here. Next one is the state. At the state, I'm going to just copy it. At the state, again do not put the spaces between the two double quotes. At the state. And where is it? It is not a text box. Remember, this one is the combo box. This is not the text box, so it is the combo box. So I'm going to just type a combo box 1 dot text. Okay, this is there from the combo box text. Last one is the hobbies. Again, hobbies is not there in any text box there. HOB. I'm going to just paste it here. Hobbies is not there in the text box. It is there in the checkbox, and we have already done a lot of magic here by taken pain in getting this hobbies. So it's going to come here. So hobbies is either reading, either painting, or either singing. That part I'm going to use it. So I'm going to use this variable HOB. So this variable HOB, that's a variable I'm going to use it. So this is your hobby. Hobby is from here. Okay, this one. So hobby is either this, that, or this. That's the hobby that I'm using it. So that's the hobby I've done. So I have added all these parameters. So done. I'm done with it. Now we are going to execute the command. We have done our work, and now it is a time to connect to the database. And from the database we are supposed to execute this particular query, and then save it in our database. So let me put that thing over here. So how do I do that? I'm going to use the try catch method. So I'm going to say try, press enter, just type and just press enter, try. And what is the first thing? We have the connection. Look at here, we created the connection. That's first we need to connect to the Microsoft Access database. So we have to connect to this Microsoft Access database, then only we will be able to do anything. So connect to the database first. So we say connection dot open. So open the connection. So dot open the connection to the database. Once you open the connection, last thing you are going to do is close the connection. So this you are supposed to do it. So open and closing the connection are part of the business now. So in between, what you are going to do? So in between, once the connection is open, you go to this command. You created a OLEDB command. You notice this OLEDB command that has an insert statement as the query. Okay, so you go to this command and you say command dot execute non-query, because it is not something that is going to manipulate the data. It's going to insert the data into the database. You say execute non-query. That means you are going to insert something into the database, and if everything goes fine, and if you are lucky enough, if you don't get any error message, just show the message box and you say that what you can say, student details, students details, student, should I say students will be, it is English, you say student details are saved. Okay, are successfully saved, or saved on anything you can say, and an exclamation mark maybe. And I'm going to say, what is this? A student student data entry. Okay, this is student. Should I put student data entry? This is called a title case. Okay, so that is it. I'm going to remove this extra space there. Now if you execute the query, if you open the connection and if you execute the query, everything is fine. Suppose if everything is not fine, then you will end up in an exception, and this EX is going to say what is the exception. So I'm going to show, if you are not able to do it, then let me go to the message box, and I'm going to show one more message box, and I'm going to say error. Okay, and let me put a colon and a space, and I'm going to concatenate. In Visual Basic, concatenation symbol is ampersand symbol, and I will go to this EX. Remember, whenever there is an exception, you are going to be given a object called as exception. It could be EX, it could be A, it could be Z, it could be anything. It's just a variable name, but it is of type exception. So this exception has a property called as message. That's going to give you what exactly is the exception. Let me put the title. So the second part is the title. I think student data entry. Okay, that's it. That's all you need to do. and maybe you can try catch and finally you can do all those things, but I will not do that thing. This is not really required. So let's go ahead and let's run it and see whether we are able to insert a record into the database. Now, one thing you must understand here is I already have the database opened in my Microsoft Access database. So you remember that thing. Now I'm going to try this. So I will start with the Suma. Yes. Okay. Her date of birth happens to be 0405 2000, not 2030, 2002. Okay, she is born, she is female, she lives in Udupi, let's say. Her state is Karnataka, let's say. She likes reading. Let me click add and see what's going to happen. Will I be able to add it, or will I be able to get an error message? So you notice that the student details are saved. You get that. So that means you are lucky enough to do that. Let me quickly go to the Microsoft Access database. Okay, and let me click here, and I think there is a refresh button should be there. Okay, it's not there, means refresh is there, refresh all. So this button, I think I thought right click it will give me. So this you see this refresh all is there. So refresh all, you get this Suma. I have not typed it, I got it from there. So let me add one more user. So let's say Ravi Kumar. Okay, and he was born in say 11 4 2001, maybe, I don't know, male, and he is living in Mangalore or Mangaluru. Okay, so then he's definitely from Karnataka. He likes painting and singing. He likes both of them. Let me add, and I must get student details are saved. Okay, well and good. Let me go to the Microsoft Access and let's say refresh all. So Ravi is saved. Okay, so that is all. So you are able to save it into your Microsoft Access database. So that's done. Let's look at the next challenge. So this is done. Let's look at the next challenge. What is the next challenge? What is that we are supposed to do it? So the next challenge is what if you, I'm going to just stop this one. Okay, next challenge is, let me go to this form here. So when you click on this form, that is what they said. When, where is the next challenge? Next challenge is when you click on this preview button, the details has to be shown in the grid view. Now the question is they have not shown, they are not, I don't know, they according to me they don't expect the grid view to be there here itself, because you can have the grid view here itself. Okay, but I expect that the grid view is going to come in a different form altogether, and you're going to show it in a different form. So that is what I expect, because nothing is been told. So when nothing is told, everything is okay. Okay. So I'm going to add one more form to my project. I'm going to go here to my Solution Explorer. Again, if the Solution Explorer is not visible, go to View, Solution Explorer. You get this Solution Explorer somewhere right at the top. You get the Solution Explorer. I'm going to go to my project here, and in my project I'm going to go click on this my project name, whatever is the name. This is the solution name, this is the project name. Right click here, and I'm going to say add. Okay, new item. You can do that, new item, but I feel like this is the easiest way. Add Windows form. This is the straightforward you are going to get it. You can click here and directly get it. Okay, so that is easiest way. During the examination it's going to save your time, but if you don't get it, add new items, then go for Windows form. You search for this Windows form, look at the pane that you have to take, Windows form, and then click on this Windows form, and then click on add. So look at the pane that you have to take it, but I'm going to just close it. And what if you right click here and then go to add, and then straight away go to Windows form. So you straight away go, rather than going to the new item. What if you go here to the Windows form and then do it? If you go to the Windows form, straight away you will come to this Windows form. Okay, and then click add here, and every problem is solved. If you want, you change the name, but I am not interested in changing the name and making the mess out of it. just click add here, and the second form is added. Now your project will contain two forms. One is the form 1, the other one is the form 2. There are two forms will be there. So this is the second form that you are going to add here. Okay, so this is second form, and in this second form we are supposed to add a data grid view. How do I add this data grid view? For this I'm going to go to the toolbox. So I'm in the form 2. Form 1 is this one. Let me show you. Form 1 is this one. Form 2 is this one. This is the form 2. I'm going to go to the toolbox again. If the toolbox is not visible, go to the view, and you get to somewhere you get this toolbox. Okay, so if you get that toolbox, I'm supposed to add the data grid view. So I'm going to just search for data grid view. You can search, you can type here, or you can scroll and then search for data grid view. It is one and the same. Okay, either you do it from here or you type data grid view and then do it. Okay, double click on it, just double click on this data grid view. It's going to be added to the form. Okay, just click outside and you notice that it is added to your form. It is added. Don't try to do anything with this one, it's not really required. Only thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to say it as a doc in the parent container. So this is what I'm going to select, doc in the parent container. What is the meaning of it? It's if you look at here, oops, I will delete this one. Okay, so I think delete this one. So if you look at here, it is not occupying the full area. Okay, it is not occupying the full area. So if I click on this quick access menu here, and if I say dock in the parent controller, if you notice it's not coming in the full area here. If I click on this, and if I click on dock in parent container, it's going to occupy the full thing. You notice that it has occupied full. That means it is going to stretch itself and occupy the full screen here. Okay, now coming back to the first thing, let's go to the form number 1. So this is the form number 1. By mistake, if you have closed this form number 1, you can go to the solution explorer and just double click on the form number 1. You are going to get this form number 1. Okay, so simple as that. Now when I click on this preview button in this form 1, you have this preview button. So if you double click on this preview button, you can add the code there. So I'm going to double click on this preview button. Double click on this preview button. When I double click on this preview button, I am going to get a button 2 dot click. That is the second button click event. I'm going to get that. So here, what is that I'm going to say? I'm going to declare a variable dim frm as new form 2. Okay, this is the form 2. Form 2 is the one that just now I have created. This is the form that I've just created, form 2. Okay, and I'm going to say frm. Okay, and I'm going to say show as dialog box. So what is this dialog box? I'm going to just type this one, and I'm going to run it, and I'm going to show you what is going to happen. So when you run this one as a dialog box, what is going to happen? So let me run it. And let me click on the preview. You will not see the output here, but you are going to see the second form. The second form number 2 is going to appear. Can you see this form number is going to appear? Now the thing is, if you click on the first form, it will not allow you to go. You see it is blinking. It is saying that I can go back. So that is what is called as a dialog box. When the dialog box is there, you have to close the dialog box. Then only you will be able to go back to the previous form. So if the dialog box is there, you can't go to the first form. You close it, then only you can go back. Now there is the other option. Let me show you the other option. There is the simplest option. Then that option is this show. Suppose if you show and run it. Now the problem is, now if you run it, now what happens is when you click on the preview, it's going to show the form. Okay, but I can straight away go to the other form and then type something. This is allowed. So that form is separate, this form is separate. I don't want that thing to happen. When the form 2 is there, I don't want somebody to go back to the form 1 and make changes there. So how do I do that thing? I'm going to say show this one as a dialog box. So I'm going to say show the let me say show dialog. Okay, so show dialog. So that means to say that when the form appears, you are not allowing when the second form appears, you don't allow the user to interact with the first form. So if the first form is there alone, they can do anything, so they can type anything. But when the second form comes, they have to complete this form, then only they can go back to the first form. So that is what is the idea. Okay, so hope you get that thing. Now it's not enough if you just show a blank form like this. What they said is, in this form you are supposed to show all the data which is there from the database. So look at the database, what you have here. You notice here, see, you see there Suma, this is the date of birth. Suma is male. Oh, I think did I made some mistake there. I am storing exactly opposite. Oh, sorry about that. Okay, this is exactly opposite is happening. When I say male, it is female is coming. When it is female, male is coming. Oh. I will fix this problem. Okay. Then her address is there. Then their state is there. Suma has only reading option, and the what about this one? The Ravi has singing. Now this problem. Sorry about that. This, I think I lost the logic there. Let me fix that logic. Okay, let me go and let me fix this problem. Now this itself, now before I go there, this is called as a grid view. Same grid view, you are supposed to show it here in this form too. Okay, I'm going to go and fix this problem of male and female. Oh, I think how did that happen? One of the that I am saying that if checkbox 1 is clicked, then it is male. I think that checkbox, let me just, sorry about that. I think this is checkbox 1. What is this? Oh, this is radio button 1. Okay, what did I write there? Oh my God. So sorry about that. Extremely sorry about that. That part is not the checkbox. When I talk, sometimes I just forget that. Okay, so this, sorry about that. This is what is this one? This is not the checkbox. Sorry, this is not checkbox. This is a radio button. Okay, sorry. The end. So anyhow, somehow you are saved. This is actually a radio button. Sorry about that. I don't know how that thing happens. Sometimes when I talk, I just forget what I'm doing. Okay, so this is radio button. It is not the checkbox. It is this radio. Where is this thing on? That thing is a radio button. Okay, not the checkbox. Sorry about that. Okay, so now done. Let's come back to the other issue, and we are supposed to get the data grid view. This view has to come. How this view has to come? Now if this view has to come in the form 2, that means when the form 2 is loaded, you have to show that. Okay, so I'm going to go here to this form 2, and in this area I'm going to just double click on this area. So not here on this title bar, so I'm going to do it on the title bar. So in this area, title bar area, in this area, so this area, you have a lot of area here, blank area. So just double click on that area. When you double click on this area, you get a option for on form load. When the form loads, that means when that form appears, what is that you are supposed to do? You are supposed to go to the database. So simple as that. You are supposed to go to the database, fetch all the records from the database, get all the records from the database, and then show it in the grid view. That's simple as that. So let's do that part. So how difficult is it to do that thing? So you know very well, in order to, I don't know why these people are showing an advertisement every now and then. Okay. Okay, that is my internet, that is my security, internet security, and it knows that I am not connected to my internet, and it is simply saying that I can't update it. I am not connected to the internet. You notice I am not there in the internet. How can it get updates? I don't know who wrote that program. So that person doesn't know that when the machine is not connected to internet, it cannot download anything from the internet. But he has done that. Okay, now. Let's come back to our work now. So in our work, what we are supposed to do is, in our work, we are first thing we need a connection to this database. So that's the first thing. So Microsoft Access connection has to be there. How do I get the connection? I'm going to say dim connection as new OLEDB connection. Remember this, OLEDB connection. You have to type it. Okay, there is no help. Okay, OLEDB connection. Now, as usual, in this form, if you notice here, there is no import statement. In the first form, there is this import statement, import system.oledb data.oledb, but in the second form, that is not there. That is why now again the Visual Studio is going to say that, see, that thing is not there in this form. Do you want me to update it? So I'm going to click here. I'm going to go to this pick suggestions, and I'm going to select import system.data.oledb. It's going to add it here. So when you click here, it's going to add imports system.data.oledb. So that is the connection. You got the connection. What is the next thing that you are going to do? Remember, I do not want to write a command there, because there is no point in getting one thing. Instead of that, I am going to say that I need to, this, you have this mobile adapters, that. Similarly, I am going to use a adapter to this database. So I will use that. Why you are using adapter for your mobile? In the same way, I'm using this adapter to connect to my database. How do I do that thing? So I'm going to say dim adapter. So you can type the whole thing, adapter, or AD is okay. As new. Again, this is the OLEDB. Why OLEDB? Because you are using Microsoft Access OLEDB and data adapter. You see there, OLEDB data adapter. Now when you open this bracket, you get a lot of option there, and one of the thing that it's going to say is it's going to say write the select command. So you've studied a database, so I'm going to say select that star from, very important thing, the table name must be proper. So what is the table name? Table name is std table. Don't make a mistake with that. So that table name is std table. So hope this is the table, std table. So this is the table name, std table. So that's the table name. Okay, that's the table name. You get the thing done. Press enter. Okay, done. What it is giving me an error message. Select star from this one. Okay, I have done that thing. What is it saying? That represent text or series. Okay, what is it? OLEDB data adapter. Okay, everything is proper. Okay, what is not proper is you said okay, you are giving a string selector. Now the question is, it is telling me, okay, which connection I am supposed to use it. You said okay, select star from the table. I know it. Where is the database? Tell me, where is the database? How do I connect to the database? For that I am going to say, okay, use this connection. Okay, what is this connection? I have just created a connection to my database, so I am saying that use that connection. Use this connection and execute select star from table. Okay, so that is it. So what now it is going to do is it's going to go to this database, and it's going to fetch all the records from the database, because you set a select star. That means it's going to fetch all the records. Now when I get all the records from my Microsoft Access database, so when I get all the records from here, I get a chunk of records. I have to store it somewhere in the memory, is it not? So in C program you would have used arrays to store that thing. Now we don't have this arrays story here, because it's a very collection of many records are there, so a lot of things will be there with the different data types. So we have a story, or we have an option called as data set. So I'm going to say dim ds as new data set. It is like an in your if you are from the C programming, it is like an array. So whatever that data that is coming out from your Microsoft Access, all the data that Microsoft Access it is giving you, that you are going to store it in the data set. So this is what is there. So this is the data set. You are going to store everything in the data set. Now you just created, it is like you just created a blank array. Now you have to fill this array. So for this you run this for loop, for I is equal to 1 to n in your C program you have done that thing. Okay, so you're going to do that thing, but fortunately we don't need to do that thing, because I can go to this data adapter here. So data adapter, if you want, if you find this word is very lengthy, you can't type it, you just type DA, data adapter, it's one and the same. Okay, I have typed the whole name here. Okay, so data adapter, and there is a method called as fill. So fill what? Fill data set. So this is the same as in your C program. If you have studied this C program, you write this for I is equal to 1 to n, then you write a of I. So you remember that story. So you write a for loop, read one letter, and then store it. Here all the things are being reduced to you. So you are now, what you are saying is this select statement, you know very well, get all the records from your database and fill this data set. So fill this data set. Data set is like an array, that is two-dimensional array. You can think of this as a two-dimensional array in your C program, and you are going to fill all the records from this particular Microsoft Access database, and you're going to fill it. So that is simple as that. Once you fill it, remember it is there in the array, is there in your memory. So you have to show it in the data grid view. How do you show that in the data grid view? You're going to go to this data grid view and the data grid view. So data grid view, this is the data grid view. What is this data grid view? The one that I have just added now. So from my toolbox I added this data grid view. Remember that I added this one. That is the one that I am going to use it for filling. So data grid view. Okay, I am going to say your data source. You are going to get your data from the data set, that is DS. Remember, DS is not very it is not as simple as that. So you can get, you have only one table. Let me show you here. You have one table. You may have in Oracle, definitely you've done 2 or 3 tables there. So you can get the data like this. One table has this much of data, other table may have some other data, the third table may have some other set of data. You can get all the data and store it in the data set. So that is what you can do. So this data set is not very, it is not like your array. It is a highly complicated structure wherein you can store a lot of tables. But now I have only one table. The first table that you have is the 0th table. So you know, in the array, just recall, when you use your C program, the first element of the array, just recall that one. So in the C program they said array is there. So if you call this one as array A, then the first element is A of 0. Okay, you know, remember that thing. The second element is A of 1, third element is A of 2, and so on. Okay, here it is not one element, here it is one table. You have first table, you can have other table, you can have one more table. So first table that you add will have A of table of 0, second element will have A of 1, third table will have A of 2. So in your case you have only one table there, so it is table 0, the first table. Suppose if you have written complicated structure over here, if you have lot of tables here, you had one more student table, teachers table, result table, marks table, fees table, and so on. So if you put all the tables in the data the data structure, that is the data set there, so the first table that you have will have the index 0, that is the student table will have the index 0, second table will have the index 1, third table will have the index 2, and so on and so forth. So you get the table as you add, the index will go on, but now you have only one table because you are doing very simple solution here. So this is going to be just one table. Okay, so that is it. But if you run this one, you are going to get an error message. Can you guess why? Because if you want to fill this data set, if you want to fill this the data set, you need to open the connection, then only you will be able to get something. Once your work is done, you have to close this connection. So that part has to be done, so don't forget that thing. So whenever you have a connection here, before you do anything with the connection, you say connection dot open. So connection dot open. In the same way, once your work is done, you are going to say connection dot close. Okay, so simple as that. So you open the connection and then you close the connection. So simple as that. Let me run it now, and let me see whether I'm going to get the same thing. So if I click on the preview, I must get the record. I don't know whether I'm going to get it because I've already opened in my table. I may get an exception. Okay, what is the exception? Occurred in the string property has not been initialized. Which property has not been initialized? Open connection. Okay, occurred in unhandled exception. Connection string property has not been initialized. So what is this error? I am getting it. Okay, so let me close this Microsoft Access. The problem may be I don't want to make any changes to the database, so let me do it, and let me stop this one. Okay, and then let me run it. Okay, the reason is sometimes when you keep this open, you may get an error. So let's see what is the error. So you get this connection dot open. Oh, by the way, where is my connection? Is this connection? Oh my God, connection. I have written this connection. Sorry about this again. I don't know what is going wrong with me. I said the connection, but the question is, where is the connection? Sorry again. I said OLEDB connection, well and good, but this connection, where is the connection? Connection, if you notice that it is there in my project, and in the setting you have this connection string. So that is the connection. I just forgot that. Okay, again, I don't know what is going wrong. Okay, so this connection is my dot setting dot connection string. So that is, this is the connection string. You notice that where is this one? My setting dot connection string. That is the connection string. So that is what, where is it? That is what I am supposed to write. So my dot connection string. So I just kept it blank. So it just says, okay, you said connection. Where is the connection? Where is the path where the database is there? So that is what it is asking me. Okay, just run it, and let's see whether we are able to succeed in getting it. So if I click on the preview, you must be able to, this time you must be able to get it. So if I slightly increase the size of it, I'm going to get the same record which is there here. I'm going just to open the Microsoft Access database just to show you that whether the things are coming properly or not. So if you notice this Microsoft Access database, and if I open this table, and you see that same data thing, and male and female there is a problem, and male and female there is a problem. So that is it. That's good. Let's go and let's add one more record. I'm going to add one more record. Say let me say Gopi, and date of birth, let's say 702, let's say 0702 2004. I think 2004 is allowed. He is male. Address is Surathkal. Okay, and I think he is from Kerala, and he likes singing. Okay, let me say add, and details are saved. Let me click on preview, and you must get the, so this mail. Now see, this problem is solved. It is mail now. I'm going to add one more. Okay, I'm going to add one more, and what is it? Let's say Geeta. Geeta is female, and she is born on 15th of say August. 15th of August and 2000. She is born in the year 2000. Female. She is from Kannur, and she is Kerala. And so let's say she likes reading, painting, and everything. Let me add Geeta, and Geeta is saved. Let me see the preview, and you notice that Geeta is where is the Geeta? Okay, Geeta likes add. If you go here and slightly increase the size, you notice Geeta likes reading, painting, singing, everything. So everything there is a male and female problem has been also solved. And I think I need one heading. I don't like to see form 2 here, so that's the one that I'm going to do it. So the next one is it highlighted in Microsoft Access? So I'm going to go to the Microsoft Access and I'm going to just say refresh, and you see Gopi and Geeta is there. Okay, last one thing that I'm going to do is I will go to this form 2 in the design, form 2 design. I will go to this form 2 design. Let me go here, form 2 design, and let me press escape, and I will increase its size. Okay, so slightly larger size. So I've done that, slightly larger size, and I'm going to click on this form 2 here, right click, and then go to the properties. Where is the property? I can just go to the properties, otherwise right click, and you must get the right click and properties of the form, not the grid view. See to it that it is the form 2. I am changing the property of the form 2, not the this one, form 2. You can select it from here also, properties. Okay, form 2, and this the text I'm going to say student data list. I'm going to say student data list. Okay, something different from the previous one. Okay, just run it, and you must be able to see this student data list. Okay, you get the student data list. You see that student data list, everything is coming properly, and you can increase the size of it to get it. So you close it, and I'm going to add one more, and say Sudeep, and he is born in 5th, and let's say 15th, let's say 15th 09 2002. Okay, he is male. Address is say Vijay. State is let me say Tamil Nadu. I don't know, he's from Tamil Nadu. So let's click on add, and it's added. Click OK. Let me see the preview, and you see this Sudeep is also there, and he just likes the reading and painting. That's it. You are able to do everything with the your project. And let's see what your exercise, sorry, and this is what you are supposed to say. You are supposed to add it. Okay, new rows get added when I click on this add button, and you are supposed to preview it when you click on the preview button. And I have handled all the entries are mandatory, and if I don't add, I'm going to get an error message. A name contains the characters only, and the age is above 18. So this is all done. Thank you for watching. We will meet again in the next exercise. Thank you.